Oh, the joys of framing a house in the wintertime in Ontario. Boy, yesterday there was like no snow. Now there's 6 inches of snow everywhere. It's a good thing that this has been framed. The floor's been framed. At least now we can scrape off the snow and ice off of the plywood. So, anyways, yeah, today we're going to talk about framing floors. So, once you've got your site all you got your foundation in, which we already talked about. We talked about the footings. We've already got that. There's a video previous to this that you can check out. Um, yeah, so doing stuff in the winter just isn't quite as much fun, but here we are. You got to keep progress going. So, anyways, one thing you could do is backfill, but if you have an 8 foot foundation wall, it's probably not a good idea to backfill all the way up. But this is only a 4 foot crawl space. So we're actually going to go down and talk about, it's actually almost 5 feet. So we're going to talk today about the framing of the floor. So as you can see, it's a poured concrete foundation. The concrete floor has been poured in here already. Good thing, because doing it afterwards would not be any fun at all. So as you can see here, we've used TGIs. So they're a engineered floor system. So as you can see, and there's also LVLs, which are they're headers, beams, so to speak, and you hang them. You can hang your floor joists off of that. Now, some people will use spruce lumber, just regular conventional spruce pine fir lumber, and it doesn't have the same span as these engineered flooring. So, because this is a very long span here, you could not do that with regular spruce lumber. So one thing you want to make sure too is before you even start your framing, make sure that your foundation walls are square and level, because this is the only time that you can actually do anything about it. So when you are doing your framing on your floor, you can straighten it out a bit. You can do the whole 3, 3, 4, 5 squaring it off, or you square corner to corner just to make sure. So once you've got that done, then you can move on to actually laying out the sill plate. So that's this guy right there. That's your sill plate. So now a lot of guys will use pressure treated lumber on for your sill plate because it takes a lot more to rot them. So the other thing is too is what they'll do is down inside here, there's a sill gasket. So that also protects the wood from the concrete, because you cannot put spruce lumber directly on top of concrete because it'll just rot. So you want to make sure that that is protected. So now that's double protected. It's got the sill gasket and it's pressure treated lumber. So once you've actually got your everything squared out, you got your plates down. When you put those plates down, there are leg bolts. I'm trying to see if I can see any. There's a bit of snow in here, so it's a little harder to see. I can't even see them. They are there, but anyways, I'll show you a picture of it. So they're leg bolts. You leg that plate down. So this plate here gets legged down. So there's a bolt that comes down inside the concrete and has an L shape like that, and then goes up and it sticks up above. And you thread a nut on and a washer on top. That keeps that from getting away. So then you lay that out, lay out your floor joist. Now, typically they're 16-inch on center, not 16 inches apart, 16-inch on center, or 24-inch on center, and some are 19.18 or something like that. We don't typically do that. And it's actually, from my experiences, you're best to go 16-inch on center. That's just my opinion. And the reason why is because your plywood doesn't sag as much. So you don't get these dips in your plywood above. And typically you'll use either 5/8 tongue and groove plywood or 3/4. Some guys will use OSB board, which is particle board. If you're trying to save money, then yeah, that's the way to go. Now, some of the things I'm going to show you in here too is not only do we have LVL beams in here, a lot of subdivision stuff will use steel beams, and they'll hang them off of that. And see here, we have these guys. That is squash blocks. So there's a point load that comes down on top of that. So it's going to be a big window or a door header that goes there's a post there that goes up and it's holding up roof weight as well. So we're also going to show you over here. So we have blocking in the floor joists. This keeps them from twisting. So it also too, what you'll do is if you're putting blocks in like that, a lot of times you'll do that above or below a wall. So we also have over here, there's a post coming down here. Now that post is picking up weight from above. So you want to make sure that there's a footing underneath there, which there is. There is a footing underneath. So the other thing too is if you're in a high water table, what you can do is people will run drain tile underneath the concrete floor. So in the corner here, they'll actually put another. So there's one on the outside. They'll also do one on the inside here, and they'll run that the perimeter all the way on the inside, all the way around to a sump pump. So sump pump's in the corner there where all that plastic is. So anyways, yeah, so that will also help keep this a nice dry basement. The other thing in crawl space. So some guys, in the old days, they used to insulate the floor, which in my experience, again, has been a problem because it's a great place for mice and rats and critters and all that sort of stuff to hang out. So yeah, the other thing is too, is it didn't keep the crawl space warm. And that's the thing. If you want to have a nice dry crawl space, nice and other than once you got the water dealt with, keeping it out, is keep the foundation warm. Also, the other thing is too, is if you keep this space warm, that space is going to be warm. So your feet are going to be warmer on the second floor or on the main floor, actually, because this is a bungalow. So yeah, so insulate the walls. So these walls here will be spray foamed. So and they'll spray foam up inside inside the headers there, in between each floor joist. That will also create a vapor barrier and it creates insulation. So then this will be a nice warm place. The other thing in the crawl space is you'll want to have it air movement. You don't want to have stale air down here, and you can exchange the air as well. So that you don't get stale air down there. Because people use these for storage. People always, if they got a space, like a crawl space of any kind, they're going to put stuff down there. So anyways, so we talked about the insulation, making sure it's on the walls and in the headers, not in the ceiling. So, and we talked about our blocking there. So you can see there blocking in the floor. So there'll be a wall. Or it's also they have to finish off here because you do not want to twist it. Now you got to follow the manufacturer's engineer's specifications for blocking. Sometimes it's 4 feet, sometimes it's 8. You have to follow what they tell you. The other thing is too, is if it's traditional spruce lumber, just regular lumber you buy at the store, you have to follow the Ontario building code for how often you put the blocking in. And anytime you have windows and doors above, you want to make sure that there's squash block coming down the foundation too. So we're going to also talk about here, up in here. So so this joist runs parallel to that concrete wall. Well, see, there's going to be an exterior wall sitting above the floor there. So what you want to do is you want to block it up. See, it keeps that joist and the outside rim plate from twisting. It also gives weight, it gives structural stability for the weight of the wall coming down. So these are put 16-inch on center. Some are 2 feet, some do 4. Follow your manufacturer's recommendation. And if you don't, check the Ontario building code and it will also help you out. So the other thing is too, as you can see up in there, more squash blocks, ceiling yet. So anyways, there's that. And now we talked about you insulating it. We talked about the blocking. We talked about keeping these from twisting. Talked about pressure treated lumber for best practices. And we talked about keeping things heated down here. So also in here, what's going to happen is in here, there's going to be plywood blocks to block this out so that it's tight to that. So it just helps with stability, keeps those from twisting, or if there's any extra weight. There's going to be a wall sitting right on top of that LVL beam. So anyways, let's go upstairs and have a look. So there'll be, so that's the garage, and this will be a, so see, look at the size of those. Those are 16-inch. So 16? Nope, they might be 14. Sorry, I don't have my tape on me. So anyways, now they got a nice clean surface to work off of. And now one thing I'm going to talk about the plywood here. Like I said, you can use OSB board or you can use plywood. We tend to like to use plywood, as you can see there. And what you're going to do is you're going to glue it and you're going to screw it. Because if you just nail it, then guaranteed you're going to get squeaks later on. So make sure you glue it and screw it. There's special glue, PL glue, different construction adhesives that you can use. So, but anyways, yeah, make sure you glue it and screw it. So, and you can look in the comments, and I'll post the, I'll create a link for you guys for the screw gun, so you don't have to bend over to be screwing it down. Oh, it's so handy. Saves your back every time. So anyways, that's the floor framing, and they are almost ready to do some walls now. So, and this house here is going to be about 1,700 square feet. So anyways, we'll come back whenever they got some walls up, and we'll talk about that. So anyways, all right, until next time, have fun framing in the snow. Bye for now.